Today, Gary Keesee helps you fix your money thing.
You don't dream dreams living paycheck to paycheck. You're in survival mode because provision is provision. If you don't have provision, people stop dreaming. I believe people do not understand how money works. Most people don't know how money is even created. I just want to wake you up, and my objective is to inspire you to live a different lifestyle.
A financial update you must hear. Gary's message, it's a tough time to be a slave. Today on Fixing the Money Thing.
I'm Gary Keesee, and for 9 years, we lived in a financial, chaotic, stress-filled, visionless life. I cried out to God. He said, "You're living like many of my people are, living in debt." He said, "I want my people free."
Your financial freedom is closer than you think. America's financial coach, Gary Keesee, shares the kingdom principles that changed his life, defeated his debt, and set him free.
Financial problems, they're slow death. We're trying to change the way you think about money.
This is Gary Keesee, Fixing the Money Thing.
Today's topic is called, "It's a Tough Time to be a Slave." Tough time to be a slave. So I want you to have open ears and listen. I hope to inspire you today to radically change your life. I really do. Proverbs chapter 22:7 says this: "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender." How many choices do slaves have? Slaves don't have many choices. Where does their profit go, their labor go? Yeah, to the lender, right? They send their labor off in envelopes every day to someone else. And so it says that the rich rule over the poor. Have you ever heard someone say, "I have to go to work"? I have to go to work. Maybe they don't like that job. You know why they go? They have bills to pay, right? Wouldn't it be great if you could work it within your passion, where you didn't like Friday night and couldn't wait till Monday morning? Wouldn't that be awesome? But you know what? That's possible. See, God designed you that way. He designed you to love what you do because you have been uniquely crafted for that. And so we're going to talk about that today. What prompted this? Again, I'm going to review this CNN survey just to kind of catch people up if you've not tuned in yet. CNN survey says 71% of Americans identify money as a significant problem, cause of stress in their lives. And this is the one that got me really tuned in to this. God said, "You've got to deal with this." 76% of households live paycheck to paycheck. You don't dream dreams living paycheck to paycheck. You're in survival mode because provision is provision. And if you don't have provision, people stop dreaming. They stop surviving. They start surviving. Recent survey conducted by the American Psychological Association indicates that 8 out of 10 Americans are stressed because of their finances. We said that credit card debt has set a new record, $1.2 trillion here in the United States. Amazingly, credit card companies send out between 5 and 7 billion credit card offers a year. As you know, you get multiple offers from the same company. And you may ask why. They're fishing, they're waiting until you have a weak moment where you accept their offer. Now, this next data is totally amazing to me because it's new. I just found out this week. Let me read it to you. The average credit card interest rate is now 27.89%. According to Forbes Advisor's credit card report as of mid-March of 2024, the Federal Reserve keeps tabs on the average interest rate that U.S. consumers pay for a variety of different financial products, including credit cards. In November 23, the average credit card interest rate in the U.S. on balances existing live credit cards was 21.7%. That's what I quoted last week. Remember that? That's the number I quoted last week and in the fall. From let's see here, November to March, the average, these are actual balances, the average is 27.89%. Money doubles every 2.5 years at that interest rate. I mean, that is criminal. It's hard to even comprehend. You cannot win with that kind of interest rate. 28%, that is incredible. We've got to talk about this. Now, I have a bank card. I call it a bank card. I pay it off every month, but every month I get it, I see it has the minimum payment that I could pay, and yours does too, which is typically about 1% of the balance, which you'll never pay off, typically. It takes 24 years to pay a credit card off. Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a minute, but it said if I was late, if I paid the minimum and I was late, the interest rate would be permanently reset at 29.99%. Wow. All right, are you enjoying this? Again, there's no condemnation, really. I just want to wake you up, and my objective is to inspire you to live a different lifestyle. I want to help you win. So let's say, I got some examples here. Let's say that you never pay your credit card off and you maintain a balance of $1,000 on it. And if it had the old, I didn't calculate the new one yet, at 21.47% at that rate, which was the old average just a couple months ago, and you kept it from age 20 to age 70, 50 years, your working lifespan, at that interest rate, $1,000 would grow to $17 billion. 1,000. Now, obviously, you don't pay them that much money. What happens is you pay them, they reinvest it at that rate. Someone else pays them, and they reinvest it at that rate, and it just keeps growing if, in fact, it did. They have bills to pay and things like that. But $1,000 can grow to $17 billion over your lifetime at that interest rate. Now, I guess I did calculate the new interest rate, but it's so shocking, you probably don't want to hear what it grows to. Over $200 billion. Just $1,000, just the price of a cup of coffee a day. You ever heard that? Listen, marketing is after your money. Marketing is after your money. Let's make it clear, someone wants you in debt. It is not by accident. It is not just so happens. It is a plot and a plan to take your money. Someone wants you in debt. Satan wants you in debt. He doesn't want you to fulfill your assignment, walk out your God-given, assignment. He wants you bound in survival thinking and caught up in survival thinking your entire life. That is a fact. Someone wants you in debt. Now, I've been helping people get out of debt for a long time, over 30 years, and in the financial service industry, about 43 years. So I've been around. I've conducted, conferences all over the United States as well as other nations. I have sat across the kitchen table with thousands and thousands and thousands of families, helping them understand their finances and how to get out of debt. Specifically, more so before I started the church, 20 years of that before we started the church, that was my daily activity, sitting down with people and talking about their finances. Believe me, I've seen a few things. Understand that. So let me give you another example, help you. I believe people do not understand how money works. Most people don't know how money is even created. Seriously. They don't understand how the economy even works. That's just a fact. And we're not doing a very good job of educating our young people about that either. But as an example, let's say that you are buying a house which requires a mortgage of $250,000. Let's assume that it was at maybe 2 months ago, the interest rates are around 7.5%. They were that high. Maybe 6 months ago, so back. Not that far back. All right, so you get the loan, and then the payment would be $1,748 a month. All right? But you have a 30-year fixed loan, which means you're going to make that payment 360 times, which means you're going to pay $629,000 for that $250,000 house. But wait, there's more. That's after tax dollars. After tax dollars, which means that you could have spent $900,000 for that $250,000 house. Isn't that incredible? How long does it take you to make that kind of money? A long time. Here's an example of an option. Instead of paying the $1,700 something a month for 30 years, if you saved the same payment for 8.5 years, you could pay cash for the $250,000 house. Who told you that? When you got married, who told you that? No one, right? No one told you that. So you have a choice, 8.5 years of paying the payment or 30 years of paying the payment. Big difference. Big difference. Another example, let's assume that you're making the minimum payment on a credit card. As I said earlier, 24 years, a $5,000 balance credit card would cost you over $14,000 before, we still have taxes to pay on that, but it kind of gives you a different twist on the 10% sale on the sweater. Kind of gives you a different twist of why, if you have cash in your hand, you go to the retail counter and you go to give them the payment for the sweater, and they say, oh, wait, we can give you 15% off today, off this purchase, if you'll just fill out the credit app for our 28% credit card. This is a true fact. Retail stores are in the banking business. If they have their own store card, they're in the banking business. They could care less about what that thing costs. It's a loss leader. They don't care. But if they can get you on the credit card, most people never pay their credit cards off. They just keep paying and buying, paying and buying. So much money. So let's talk about this example. We have the house we talked about. We have the $5,000 credit card balance. So the total interest we would pay on both those, as they are currently amortized, would be $388,622,000 just in interest. Now, let's assume you make $65,000 a year, and after you take your taxes out, the property taxes on the property, the insurance on the property, your tithe, you're going to end up, let's say, $41,000 and some change left over, cash in your hand, to now pay on the house. Well, if you divide the interest paid, $388,000 number I mentioned, the total interest paid for the card and the house, it would take you 9.3 years to pay the bank the interest. But wait, we got to pay the principal, so we need to add 5.9 years to that. So the total time to pay both those off as amortized is 15.2 years if every penny you made went to pay it. No groceries, nothing else. If everything you made went to pay that 15.2 years as amortized to pay for the house and pay that $5,000 credit card off. 15.2 years if nothing else is paid. Of course, we know that's not going to happen. You got to eat food, you got things to buy, right? The motto of the story is you cannot win playing that game. And people go, I don't know why we don't get ahead. That's why you don't get ahead. Someone's taking your money. You're not getting ahead because no one's going to win that game. That's why 76% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. They didn't plan on that, right? There is another option we'll talk about today. That's why we're even doing this series. I want to wake you up and get you kind of bothered that someone's stealing your money, that someone's taking your life. Money is life. It didn't grow on a tree. You exchanged your life for it. Is this interesting for you? I hope so. Because I want to see you win. God has a lot of things for you to get done, a lot of things for the body of Christ to get done. And if the devil can keep you tied up just paying survival payments, then you're not going to be able to step into it, at least not all of it. As you know, my story, that we were almost destroyed in finances by being in debt. I hate debt for a good reason. We lived in debt, as you know, in very tough times. When we got married, I never planned to go in debt and ruin my life. I don't think anyone ever does. But, we're short, we're living on commissions, so you have this mindset, well, I'll just take a credit card and I will, I need a little help to kind of get over the hump this week. What are we thinking? Well, we'll pay it off next week. And next week comes and the extra money doesn't show up, and so we add a little more, and before long, we had 10 canceled, maxed out credit cards. We then used finance companies. We had 3 loans between 29 and 33%. Finance, don't ever do those, because the interest is paid first with those loans. You never get to the principal. And they're really not good at all. Then we couldn't pay our taxes. Got to remember you pay taxes, right? We couldn't pay our taxes, so we ended up owing the IRS thousands of dollars. I tell you all the time, I know exactly the address. I've been there many times, 200 North High Street. Been down there many times, talking to them about how I can, not pay my taxes, maybe a hardship clause, delay my taxes, I can make a payment, all that stuff. And by the way, if you're in debt, this is not to condemn anyone. As you'll hear, I've made every mistake possible with money. So thank God I'm not doing it now. Relax. But this is how I came to come to know the Lord in a whole different way. We then begin to borrow from relatives. The borrower is a slave to the lender. If you've ever borrowed money from someone, you typically don't want to see them at the grocery store. No, it changes the relationship, doesn't it? Doesn't it? It changes the relationship. You need to be aware of that. Thousands owed to relatives, tens of thousands. Hundreds owed to all kinds of small bills. Dentist, orthodontics, dry cleaner, you name it. We owed everyone money. School loans. So you can imagine the kind of stress that I was under with 5 kids and my beautiful wife, and had a lot of self-image problems because of that. I was a failure. I was failing, right? Panic attacks, antidepressants. I found out that you can become desperate. I don't believe people start out desperate. Little kids don't play destruction. They don't play losing. They play victory. They play winning, right? It's only when life beats them up enough that they begin to kind of give up on winning. It's only when you get involved in life and you begin to think, well, I don't really see how I can get ahead here, and just begin to survive. Hobbies begin to take over your life, escaping from the pressures of life. Friday nights, you begin to develop this escape mentality that, that doesn't get you anywhere, but it costs you money, and you can find it in your closets and basements, all the hobbies you had, and they're temporary. And man, I'll tell you, you find your passion, you find what you're designed to do. It doesn't compare to a hobby, man. Your passion is what you want to do. But you become desperate. And I tell you these stories because what's it called, Amy? The limit of time is up. I can tell you the stories. Statutes of limitations, thank you. But you really become desperate. I had this bill due. I had to pay the bill. And I didn't have any money. So I had this brilliant idea. You can't do it now, the banks still work this way, but that there was always like a 2-day lag time before a check cleared. And so I had this thought, well, okay, here's my bank. I'm going to open another account at this bank and write a check from that bank, which has nothing in it. Well, I'll put something in it. When I open it, a bad check from this bank. Are you with me? I open the account with a bad check from this bank. In this bank credits it as money. So then, back and forth each day. God, I thought the check was going to come the next day. I had this check owed me. I thought it'd be there tomorrow, and it wasn't. It was another 2 weeks before it showed up, and so we had to have groceries. So this balance grew to over $3,000 back and forth, until one morning the phone rang. It's the banker. Here's what she said exactly. She did one kind, wasn't conversational. Mr. Keesee, we know what you're doing. I want that $3,000 in the bank now, and you'll never open an account in this bank again. And it just so happened she's the one I've been telling how great Jesus is. And my little symbol on the check was all about Jesus. Man, I tell you what, living like that is full of shame. It was not good. I did tell her, I said, listen, I apologize. I said, Jesus did not do this. I had to honor him. I couldn't bring him into that mess. I said, Jesus did not do this. I did it all on my own. Never went back to that bank. Couldn't. So that's how we lived. That's how it was at that time in our lives. You've heard the story then of the van burning up. Basically, phone calls would come every day, and you've heard the story. This lawyer calls and says, listen, you're going to pay this account. I've called you 4 times. Every time I call you, you say the check's in the mail. It never shows up. So we've decided to file a lawsuit against you unless I have the money here in 3 days. Remember that story? And so that's the day that I went upstairs in the little farmhouse and prayed in tears, said, God, it's over. You've got to show me what to do. I mean, see, you may think, why did you wait 9 years of hell on earth before you really got serious about asking God? Because I guess I thought I could figure things out. The same reason why you're putting up with stuff. You think you can figure it out. So, you're in this mess because you never learned how my kingdom operates. And he went on to say, my church is in slavery just like Israel was in Pharaoh's day. I want my church free. Now, of course, kingdom, I didn't know what that meant. Kingdom, I mean, I have an Old Testament degree, a Bible school for 1 year, but kingdom is the Lord's Prayer. I always thought that's where kingdom's mentioned, and I thought it was referring to when Jesus comes back. I had no concept of the kingdom being now and we're citizens in the kingdom. I didn't understand that. So as you know, the next day the van burned up. I won't go through the whole story right now, but the van burned up, which paid it off. Thank the Lord Jesus Christ for that, because you couldn't sell that thing. It was not good. Had a few dollars left over, but now I'm without a vehicle. And here's the motto of the story. My dad calls and says, I heard your van burned up. Yeah, my dad has money. I'm thinking, awesome, Dad's on this now. Let's go look for a van, he says. Great. Dodge Caravan was burned up. That's what we wanted. So we went and looked for Dodge Caravans, and we found one. Can you believe that? We found them for sale at Car Lot. They sell them. You look, you'll find them. $18,000 is what it would cost. So, no problem. My dad's with me. And as we're walking to the little office up there, he says, I'll give you $5,000 towards the van's purchase. Uh-oh, we don't have any money. God just spoke to us. Stop it. But I had a problem because my dad had no clue the mess I was in. And now they're wanting us to fill an app out. What can I say? Dad, I can't fill it out. I mean, I just wasn't the time and place I wanted to get into this, right? So my dad co-signed it, filled the app out. We were approved. They said, come back tomorrow morning, pick your van up. I went home, told Drenda what happened, and that night we were about sick. We just could not. We cannot do this. We have tried this system. It just ends in destruction. We cannot do this. We cannot keep borrowing money. I don't care how desperate we are to have a vehicle. We cannot do that. And that's where you find yourself at. I've got to have the whatever it is. And you feel pressed in a corner where you have to make a decision quickly. And then you find that, and again, all debt is not sin. Please understand that. Debt can be a tool, but when you're relying on debt, when you trust in debt, you have a problem. When you trust in debt, you are in trouble, you're headed the wrong way, there's destruction ahead. Do not want to do that.
Gary continues his financial update next time on Fixing the Money Thing.
I remember thinking, wait, this is the first time I ever have driven a car that's paid for. This is how it works. This is how it works. The other option, let God help you with it, right?
Gary continues his financial update teaching and concludes his message, It's a Tough Time to Be a Slave, next time on Fixing the Money Thing.
There is some danger on the horizon. The average house price was $200,000 in 2015. The average house price now is $400,000. New York City has 95 million square feet of office space unoccupied. We have over $1 trillion of commercial debt rolling over. 97% of the banks out there, which is $1.3 billion or less of assets, they have a lot of their business from commercial debt. You gotta get these interest rates back down to avoid this collapse of the commercial real estate market.
This generation is the first in recent history without the hope that their lives will be better than their parents. Survival simply costs more. Shrinkflation has taken over grocery stores. Auto insurance rates are steadily rising. For many Americans, the necessities are now luxuries, and luxuries are unattainable.
The amount of money the government is overspending, which is $2 trillion deficit this year. The first 220 years of the country, it took us that long to have a debt of $11 trillion. We have increased our debt by $11 trillion in the last 4 years.
If the national debt were divided equally, every American would owe over $100,000. National credit card debt is well over $1 trillion. Student debt is almost $2 trillion. That's 2 followed by 12 zeros.
Some people are already in a recession. The debt is impossible to maintain.
This is not the time to be in debt. Gary Keesee figured out the debt scheme and recorded the steps he took to reverse the financial chaos in his life and break free from the scarcity system.
You've got to learn how the biblical system of finances work. And by using those principles, you can be free. I've done this for 32 years. I have shown people how to be debt-free in 5 to 7 years, including their home mortgage, without changing their budget, their income. I guarantee you that we can help you get out of debt.
9 Steps to Your Financial Freedom is a workbook that breaks down this overwhelming process into simple, actionable steps that really work.
You do not have to live hopeless anymore. You can be free and excited about your tomorrow.
The economy won't wait for you to balance your checkbook. Use the information on your screen to call, write, or visit our website now.
Begin your journey to freedom today.
What would your life be like if you could avoid trouble? How would your life be if you knew exactly where to go and what to do to be successful? You have an ability beyond yourself to win in life. Want to learn how? Go to GaryKeesee.tv now to get your free 5-CD set or digital download so Gary can help you win in life. Today, you can begin a transformation in your life as you put the kingdom principle of partnership into action by becoming a Team Revolution partner with us. Call, go online, or write, and partner believing that the same grace that's on this anointed ministry will be on you.
Partnership is about you being part of this ministry.
When we touch one life, we touch the world. And as our partner, you share in that ministry and you share in our reward.
Fixing the Money Thing is one of the multiple media outlets of the Keesee family and Faith Life Now.